physical presence, becoming more aware of your body and the skin that you're in, becoming more aware of the clothes that you're in, the seat that you're in, becoming more aware of everyone and everything around you and the space you're taking up. And as we continue becoming more physically aware, I offer you this quote from the alchemist once again. He was learning a lot of new things. Some of them were things that he had already experienced, but he hadn't perceived them because he had become accustomed to them. And so as we move through the rest of our time together tonight, through the coming hours, days, and weeks ahead, through the coming months as we continue through this beloved book, I invite us all to open up, to become curious, and to notice where in our day-to-day, where in each moment, we become so accustomed to things, to experiences, to people in our lives that we don't really notice. And perhaps it's time that we could notice a little bit more. So now, if comfortable, I invite you to plant both feet firmly on the ground. I invite you to lengthen your spine. Feel free to stand if you wish. And I invite you to place your arms out by your sides with your palms facing upwards. Just taking a few moments to become even more aware of your body, where your feet are, how your entire physical being is intertwingling with the energy that is whirling and swirling around. That is the same energy that is alive and active within each and every one of us. And the music that is being offered, that is our very time together. And now I invite you to scoop it all up, up, up above your head, pressing your palms and fingertips together. And then gently bring it all down. Mindfully, lovingly, purposefully, joyfully, intentionally, all down into your heart, enjoying a moment of gratitude and appreciation, perhaps deepened connection, awareness, and grace. And so let us finish off our meditation with 4 breaths together. And tonight, I'm going to invite you, with your hands, to bring your pointer finger and thumbs together for the first breath. And so first breath in, and release. Noticing how your chest opens up, returning back to your regular breath. And then I invite you to switch to your index finger and your thumb. Breathing in for our second breath together. Here we go. And release. Perhaps noticing a fuller breath into the ribs and returning back to your regular breath. And for our third breath, I invite you to place your ring finger and thumb together. And here we go, breathing in together. And release. Breathing everything out of our bellies. Returning back to your regular breath. And for this fourth and deepest breath, I invite you to place your pinky fingers and your thumbs together. And draw in this breath and allow it to fill all the way down to your perineum, to your sacrum. Here we go. And at the top, hold. taking in an extra sip if you can, and just be. Returning back to your regular breath. I am so grateful for your time and presence and for everything that comes next. Namaste. So just to help us with our transition, I'm going to invite you, if you're sitting, to stand up and just move your body around a little bit. Allow yourself to connect with the room, with the people around you. Shake it out a bit. Have a sip of some tea or water if you have some. We're allowing our nervous systems to come back online from being super expanded to becoming more grounded and still regulated. And then, if you're interested, I invite you to find someone nearby and share one thing briefly that came up for you during that meditation. As we also appreciate the band, the Elevate Trio, Mr. Pablo Cardenas on piano, Peter Douse on electric bass, and Kelby McNair on drums, and all the instruments. Thank you. Trio, how blessed are we? Every single week, right? Come on. Okay, was that something, or you guys just were riffing over there? You guys,
we were following the flow.
Just following the flow.
Actually, Pablo wrote that just before we got here.
Pablo was writing that as you were playing that, yeah. All right, thank you very much. So, you know what? There's a bit of extra noise happening here tonight because we do have a fan going, and I'm still, I apologize for this, blinded by the sun. But you gentlemen can go and sit down if you want, because there's no music for a little bit now.
Okay.
And so I am bringing my stand over, because even though I'm going to, wow. I got to be, yeah, but the camera's here. No, it's the wind. No, it's the TV, Liz. It's a very thin window frame. It'll be down in a sec. And we're gonna have curtains within the month. We're gonna have blinds and curtains. Okay, so our actually before I do this, I just want to welcome. We have some new people here for the first time. So I just want to find out who's here for the first time on a Thursday. All right, we have some hands in the air here. All right, so we have Elaine and Marilyn over here, and then we have Adrian over here. So could we please welcome them the VTC way? We love you, we appreciate you, and we're so glad you're here. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for coming out. Found us a bunch of different ways. This side of the room is feeling so heavy, right? Like if we were on a boat, you guys. Woo! Anyway, so we are a New Thought community, and basically what that means is we believe there's one thing going on. Call it whatever works for you. We like to talk about love quite a bit here, or energy, or spirit, or source. Universe sometimes, the quantum field, sometimes God. But because there's only one thing going on, that means all of us are that. Everyone and everything, nature, everything in this room, everyone in this room, everyone tuning in online, the experience that we're having, all of that is this love, is this energy, is this creativity expressing all the time. And the third main thing that we teach is that we get to experience as much of that awesomeness as we want, according to how we use our mind and how we open our heart. So no one else create our experience. So right now, we are creating this experience called Elevate, and it wouldn't be Elevate without you being here. So thank you very much for being in community with us tonight. and what a gift and a blessing it is to be able to gather in community on Lekwungen territorial land. So as we work and play and breathe and co-create together and bring community together with enthusiasm and joy, what a privilege it is to be here now upon these sacred lands that have been stewarded so reverentially, so intentionally for so long. Haichka. All right, so we have a theme for the month to sort of anchor us in what is going on. It helps to inform the talks, it helps to inform the music. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it today because there's a lot of stuff in the book that we are following right now that I want to get into. But relatability is our theme. It's also the last of our 4 pillars at VTC. And the affirmation or statement to go with relatability is, we welcome and inspire community with enthusiasm and joy. And this is something that came directly from our community about 1.5 years ago, maybe a couple of years ago at this point, when we got together on 2 different occasions to do a visioning for what it is that this center wanted to become, for what it is that we were anchoring ourselves in. And so this isn't something that I made up or, the leaders, the board, whatever. This came directly from community about this is why we're coming together and this is what we're doing when we come together. So just something to keep in mind and something for us to lean into as we move through the rest of this month. But for now, I would like to move on to The Alchemist. So if you have your book with you today, I apologize, I gave the wrong page numbers in the newsletter yesterday. I think they were from last week. So we're further along than that. And let's see how this week goes, because my gosh, I keep thinking, fewer and fewer pages, there's going to be less and less, and it's like there's more and more and more every single time. And for those who are new here, this is one of my favorite books. The new people here, have you read this book? Have you heard of this book? Okay, it is a magical book with so many universal themes that so many people can relate to. And so we are about 36 pages in, and we have been introduced to a young boy who is a shepherd. His name is Santiago, but he's referred to as the boy throughout most of the book. And he lives in Spain, but he has just now gone to Morocco because he has a dream that has had a couple of times that he can't make sense of. He's met some people along the way to help him to try and make sense of this dream because it has something to do with his purpose or what they call a personal legend. And he's trying to find out more about it, and he's learning about himself and life along the way. And so when we last left Santiago, then he was about to go from Spain to Morocco. So I'm just going to read a little bit. To set the scene. How strange Africa is, thought the boy. He was sitting in a bar very much like the other bars he had seen along the narrow streets of Tangier. Some men were smoking from a gigantic pipe that they passed from one to the other. In just a few hours, he had seen men walking hand in hand, women with their faces covered, and priests that climbed to the tops of towers and chanted as everyone about him went to their knees and placed their foreheads on the ground. And so as he's sitting at this bar, it's occurring to him that he is very much a foreigner. He is very much a stranger in a strange land where he doesn't even speak the language that is being spoken here. And so he's not quite sure how he's going to navigate this new place that he's in, this new situation and experience that he's having. And while he's thinking about all of these things, and sort of he goes back and forth quite a bit between, should I go back to what I was doing in Spain? Should I go back to my simple life of being a shepherd? Or should I keep pursuing this dream, this adventure that keeps sort of like niggling me along? And so as he's feeling alone and feeling like a stranger in a strange land, it's also occurring to him that he's kind of set himself up for a little bit of success anyway. He's thinking, in money, there is magic, and whoever has money is never really alone. And so he's thinking about this big pouch of money that he has because he just sold all of his sheep, before leaving Spain so that he could buy a ticket and he could have all of this money to go on his adventure. Remember, he gave 6 of his sheep to the old man who turned out to be a king, who was telling him about how there's so much more to life, to what it is that you experienced so far. So he's thinking about all this, and he's sort of going, okay, feeling a bit more confident. And he's also thinking about his relationship with his sheep and how they just used to wander. And the reason that he loved being a shepherd was because he got to travel. He thought that if he were a shepherd, that he'd be able to see the world. And so he's remembering how the sheep used to know exactly where to go. And he thinks to himself, if God leads the sheep so well, he will also lead a man. And that made him feel a lot better. And as he's thinking about these things, all of a sudden, he's thinking about the omens and the signs that the old king was telling him about when they were sitting in that plaza in Tarifa. And he's thinking about, I need to pay attention to these signs. And he's remembering that he promised the king that he would make his own decisions and not ask these 2 stones that he has for answers on how to move through life. And as he's thinking through all of this, a young Arab sits down next to him. And as he says hello, the boy realizes, oh my gosh, he's speaking Spanish. I can actually communicate with this guy. So he's so excited, he says, sit down and let me treat you to something. And ask for a glass of wine for me. I hate this tea. There is no wine in this country, the young man said. The religion here forbids it. The boy told him then that he needed to get to the pyramids. He almost began to tell him about his treasure, but decided not to do so. If he did, it was possible that the Arab would want a part of it as payment for taking him there. He remembered what the old man had said about offering something you didn't even have yet. I'd like you to take me there if you can. I can pay you to serve as my guide. Do you have any idea how to get there? The newcomer asked. The boy noticed that the owner of the bar stood nearby, listening attentively to their conversation. He felt uneasy at the man's presence, but he had found a guide and he didn't want to miss out on an opportunity. You have to cross the entire Sahara Desert, said the young man. And to do that, you need money. I need to know whether you have enough. The boy thought it a strange question, but he trusted in the old man who had said that when you really want something, the universe always conspires in your favor. He took his money from his pouch and showed it to the young man. The owner of the bar came over and looked as well. The 2 men exchanged some words in Arabic, and the bar owner seemed irritated. Let's get out of here, said the new arrival. He wants us to leave. The boy was relieved. He got up to pay the bill, but the owner grabbed him and began to speak to him in an angry stream of words. The boy was strong and wanted to retaliate, but he was in a foreign country. His new friend pushed the owner aside and pulled the boy outside with him. He wanted your money, he said. Tangier is not like the rest of Africa. This is a port, and every port has its thieves. The boy trusted his new friend. He had helped him out in a dangerous situation. He took out his money and counted it. We could get to the pyramids by tomorrow, said the other, taking the money. But I have to buy 2 camels first. And so this young Arab takes the boy to a market, and then there's all these people, all these stalls, all these sights and sounds and smells and textures and colors and all of this stuff that is so different that the boy has never experienced, that he's never seen. And he's just bedazzled by all of it, marveling at all of this new stuff. And then all of a sudden, right in front of him, he sees this incredible scabbard. This beautiful sword that is unlike any he has ever seen in his life. And he is so mesmerized by all the jewels, by all the silver, by the carving, everything on it. And he's thinking to himself, when I come back from the pyramids of Egypt with my treasure, I'm going to buy that sword and I'm going to take it home as a souvenir. And then it occurs to him, he's been standing there for some time and he has no idea where his new young Arab friend is. And then all of a sudden he feels it in his heart. And he's afraid to turn around because he knows what he's going to find there. So he keeps looking at the sword. He keeps focusing on how beautiful it is. And when he finally musters up the courage, he turns around and the guy's not there. And so he's standing there thinking, okay, I want to trust and know that we've just been separated, that maybe he went to look for those 2 camels that he has been talking about. But he knows because he knows what the feeling in his heart is. And he's learning to trust his heart to be his guide. And so as he's standing there in the plaza, he realizes that the market is starting to close. And as the market is starting to close, one of the priests runs up one of the closest towers, and then everybody drops and they start to pray. And as everybody is praying and as the market is closing, the boy is realizing how alone he is. He's realizing how he has nothing. He has nothing except for what he has on him. And just a few hours earlier, he had all these sheep. He had a life that he loved. He was somewhere where he was welcomed and people loved him and accepted him, and he got to travel the world. And now he has nothing. So he starts rooting for the satchel that he has, and he starts thinking, okay, like at least I have something, right? But as the sun begins its departure, the boy watches it through the trajectory for some time until it hides behind the white houses surrounding the plaza. He recalled that when the sun had risen that morning, he was on another continent, still a shepherd with 60 sheep and looking forward to meeting with a girl. That morning, he had known everything that was going to happen to him as he walked through the familiar fields. But now, as the sun began to set, he was in a different country, a stranger in a strange land where he couldn't even speak the language. He was no longer a shepherd, and he had nothing, not even the money to return and start everything over. All this happened between sunrise and sunset. He was feeling sorry for himself and lamenting the fact that his life could have changed so suddenly and so drastically. He was so ashamed he wanted to cry. He had never wept even in front of his own sheep. But the marketplace was empty and he was far from home, so he wept. He wept because God was unfair and because this was the way God repaid those who believed in their dreams. When I had my sheep, I was happy, and I made those around me happy. People saw me coming and welcomed me, he thought. But now, I'm sad and alone. I'm going to become bitter and distrustful of people because one person betrayed me. I'm going to hate those who have found their treasure because I never found mine. And I'm going to hold on to what little I have because I'm too insignificant to conquer the world. He opened his pouch to see what was left of his possessions. Maybe there was a bit left of the sandwich he had eaten on the ship. But all he found was the heavy book, his jacket, and the 2 stones the old man had given him. The 2 stones called Urim and Thummim. One was for yes, one was for no, and these were meant to be a guide for him in case the boy didn't know what to do. But during the conversation with the old man, who is the king, that gave these stones to him, the boy did make a promise saying, I'm always going to trust myself. I'm going to decide. I'm not going to have to use these stones because I know what I need to do. And so once again, he was reminded of the old king. And even though he'd lost everything, even though he lost that big pouch of money, which initially made him think, I'll never be alone because I have this money that has magic in it, even though he lost all of that, all of a sudden he didn't feel so alone because he had these 2 stones that reminded him of this profound experience that he had with this wise, wise man that opened him up to these possibilities that he'd never even thought of. And so he looked at the stones and he thought, I don't need them. I'm going to put them away. And when he put them in his pocket, they fell to the ground through a hole he didn't even know was there. But in a way, he was kind of excited because he was thinking about these omens that he needs to follow, these signs, if you will, and remembering how the old man and the king had said to him. Learn to recognize omens and follow them, the old king had said. An omen, the boy smiled to himself. He picked up the 2 stones and put them back in his pouch. He didn't consider mending the hole. The stones could fall through any time they wanted. He had learned there were certain things one shouldn't ask about so as not to flee from one's own personal legend. I promised that I would make my own decisions, he said to himself. But the stones had told him that the old man was still with him, and that made him feel more confident. He looked around at the empty plaza again, feeling less desperate than before. This wasn't a strange place. It was a new one. And so all of a sudden, he experiences another shift in perspective. And that shift in perspective allows him to have a different experience, even though the circumstances around this experience are exactly the same. He's still in that plaza by himself. All his stuff is gone except for what he has on him. But because he has this confidence, because he's reminded of this man that he had this incredible exchange with and learned so much from in one conversation, all of a sudden he's like, I have it in me. I can do this, okay? Life's not going to beat me down. And so as he mused about these things, he realized that he had to choose between thinking of himself as the poor victim of a thief and as an adventurer in quest of his treasure. I'm an adventurer looking for treasure, he said to himself. And then he goes and finds a spot in the plaza, goes to sleep. And then the next morning, he wakes up, and as some of the marketeers are setting up their stalls and their tents and everything, he sees a candy maker, and he watches him making his first batch of candy. And he realizes, without having any kind of conversation with this candy maker, that this guy is making candy not because he has to, but because he wants to. And he thinks, maybe this guy is fulfilling his personal legend by being a candy maker. And then when the first batch of candy is done, the man gives one to the boy so he has something to eat. And he's so excited about this because they did not say a word to each other. They didn't speak the same languages, so they couldn't have had a conversation using words, but they had understood each other perfectly well. There must be a language that doesn't depend on words, the boy thought. I've already had that experience with my sheep, and now it's happening with people. He was learning a lot of new things. Some of them were things that he had already experienced and weren't really new, but that he had never perceived before. And he hadn't perceived them because he had become accustomed to them. He realized, if I can learn to understand this language without words, I can learn to understand the world. Relaxed and unhurried, he resolved that he would walk through the narrow streets of Tangier. Only in that way would he be able to read the omens. He knew it would require a lot of patience, but shepherds know all about patience. Once again, he saw that in that strange land, he was applying the same lessons he had learned with his sheep. All things are one, the old man had said. End of today's reading. And so, the title of my talk today is Choosing Adventure Over Circumstance. One of the things that we talk a lot about in New Thought is personal responsibility, agency, sovereignty, that we create our responsibility, no one and nothing else. There's nothing outside of us, there's no force, there's no entity, there's no one pulling any proverbial puppet strings. Nothing is completely written out. Every single moment is a brand spanking new opportunity to more fully embrace and embody the love we are, to express as the creativity we are, to experience who and what we are at our core more fully, more wholly, more intentionally. And so the point of this is that we can all have our best laid plans, we can all have our best intentions, but there are times when life is going to unfold unexpectedly, right? Sometimes not the way that we would prefer it to happen. And in that moment, as with all moments, we are at choice. And we're not just at choice standing there at a crossroads, we are choosing actively. But a lot of times we're doing it unawares. And so the point of us, the point of our life, our mission, one of our missions is to choose more consciously, to choose more intentionally. And instead of being a victim of circumstance, like having someone rob us of our money, having to give up our sheep, having to give up the life that we knew, that we loved, that we appreciated, just so we can go and follow some kind of bizarre dream to a place that we've never been to and don't even know if there's something going to be there for us, that we trust, because there is this incredible, amazing thing that we are at our core that knows. This personal legend, this mission, this purpose of life, it is always in us, just pushing itself, just trying to unleash itself in, through, and as us. And the more we remember who and what we are, that we are this incredible energy, the same energy that is the power of the blazing sun, that is every single mountain, that is every leaf on every tree, that is every single thing in the world, every single person in the world, that is the purr of a cat, the coo of a baby, all of that stuff, that we are that too. The more we remember how incredibly powerful and creative we are, the more we show up and are able to navigate those unpreferred circumstances, those unexpected circumstances, as that incredible allness, as that incredible infinite potentiality that we are at our core. So the more we align with our purpose, the more we also realize that we are never alone. We are never alone because there's only one thing going on, which means all is one. And the more that we remember that, the more that we embody that, the more that we trust that, the more that we trust that universe, God, source, whatever you want to call it, always, always, always has our back, no matter what. Thank you, and so it is. All right, so now it's time for some conscious connection. So if you are interested, I invite you to gather in little groups of 2 or 3 or 4 and have a little conversation about what you're experiencing right now, whether it's the talk, the music, being in here for the first time. Just find someone that you kind of like, I'd like to talk to that person. And then you'll have about 10 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, to have a conversation. I will ding the meditation bowl when it's time to come back. If this isn't your jam, that is totally 100% okay. There is an interactive table with some cards and stuff on there, some intention dice, which are really nice to roll. And you can also just go out for a little walk, but we'll be back in about 10 minutes. Okay? Thank you. 2-minute warning, 2-minute warning. All right, come on back, everyone. Okay, as everyone is coming back into formation, I'm just going to offer a few announcements, and I'm also going to offer this You Are Beautiful blessing box to come around. So Samia, I'll start it with you. So there are little tiny affirmations and blessings in there. Please help yourself to one to help inspire you or pick you up. Add it to your collection if you have one that's growing. I know a few of us do have some collections that are growing, because I think I've been doing this for over a year now. I can't remember. But anyway, and make sure that the lid is closed so everyone can see You Are Beautiful as that box goes around. So just a few announcements. Events. If you ever want to know what's happening at VTC, best place to go is the events page on the website. You can scan the QR code right there if you like, but go onto the website and it will list all of the events. You just click on one, gives you all the info. We always have in-house stuff happening, but we also rent out the space, so there's lots of community at large events happening as well. This is an event that is not happening here, but because I sit on the board of the Victoria Multi-Faith Society, I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention. It's a super cool movie called Who Do You Think You Are? There was a screening already, and there's another one happening on this Sunday, May 24th at the UVic Multi-Faith Center. Doors open at 6:30. The event starts at 6:45. The movie itself is only about an hour long. The filmmakers will be there for a Q&A, and there's going to be a chance to have little discussions with your fellow attendees. And basically, they're asking the question, what is the current global crisis asking of us? And it features a lot of cool, well-known thought leaders, including Neil Donald Walsh, Patch Adams, and this other person whom I don't know. But it's going to be really cool. I'm going to go. We have a few members coming out of our community, and it's just a really, really neat opportunity to go and connect. Okay, just announced next month, Saturday, June 20th, on the date of the summer solstice, we are having Summer Solstice Reset 2026. So if you would like to experience 90 breath work, Reiki, and a beautiful sound bath all in one evening, then I invite you to register for this event with me, with Becky Willis, and with Illyria. Illyria will be on this stage with their bowls and chimes and all sorts of instruments, probably doing some vocalizing, and everyone's going to be lying on mats here. It was such a great experience last time, and we're so excited to offer it again. Limited spots available, and we will sell out, so please let me know ASAP. Tickets have already started to go. All right, community announcements. Anyone have something going on that you would like to do a very brief, hey, come and check this out with me, I have this happening? No? Musicians, anything you want to?
I was going to be playing at Herman's, but
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, Kelby's got some.
If anyone is looking for something to do this Sunday at 2 p.m., we have a band called Adventures in the Django Sphere.
Ooh.
And it plays music inspired by Django Reinhardt and Stefan Grappelli. So it features the wonderful violinist Richard Moody and a virtuoso guitarist named Chris Sardison. And we'll be at James Bay United Church at 2 p.m. and admission is by donation. Peter's cutting his lawn, but other people might like to come. It's probably on the James Bay website under events, I suspect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Stephanie, did you have something? What's that? Oh, New Thought Merriment. Yeah, so for those who are in the New Thought community, this Saturday, Unity Vancouver Island is having a potluck and talent show combo. And so it is taking place at the Lutheran Church that Unity Vancouver Island, the Victoria chapter, has their services at now. And I believe the doors open at 6 p.m. We're invited to bring whatever food we're bringing by 5:45 or something, and then let the games begin. So there's no end time for this. There's a lot of people who have signed up to share their talent, whatever that may be. And I was told on the car ride over here that Glenn Sheridan, also known as Mahoney and the Lawmill and so many other names, is doing something, but he won't share what it is. What? I'm sorry. Anyway, so so if you don't have something to do on Saturday night and want to come and hang out with a bunch of New Thought and New Thought adjacent communities and eat a whole bunch of food, then please come on out and join New Thought Merriment. If you want some information, I can give you information because we gave all our sheets to Unity Vancouver Island with everyone who signed up so that they could phone people and follow up and whatever. Okay. All right, that's it. Okay, so I'm going to invite, no, I'm not going to. I am going to invite the Elevate Trio to play another tune. And as they do, I'm going to pass around, no, I'm not going to pass around. You guys can play. Go ahead.
We thought we'd do a piece by the great jazz pianist and composer Chick Corea. This one is entitled Spain.
Kelvin McNair on the drums, playing Chick Corea. Woo! Amazing. Oh my God, so cool to hear that here. Thank you. Wow, that's like such an... well, for Chick Corea, yeah. Such a like an intelligent piece of music too. Okay, so where is my thing? Now is an opportunity to just really open up your heart, to open up your, I don't know, what is it, like the outpouring of generosity that you are willing to give to support this incredible, amazing trio and the programming of things like that we call Elevate. And so I am putting in my contribution here, and I am asking, there are many different ways to contribute. There are a whole bunch of them listed on the screen there, but there is a merchant machine here, there are some envelopes, and there are some things to fill out. If you do a credit card, please fill out one of these sheets or write your name on the back so our treasurer knows who to credit. Anyway, what I would like to invite everyone to do, whether you put something in here or not, is to just spend a few moments with this abundance bowl and place an intention in here for prosperity, for abundance, for community, And let's throw in some love and peace and compassion in there as well, okay? So I'm going to start with this side over here. Thank you very much. And as that abundance bowl is going around, guess what we get to have more of? Music. gentlemen, the Elevate Trio, thanking them for the umpteenth time for the amazing awesomeness that they are. Mr. Pablo Cardenas on piano, Peter Dowse on electric bass, Kelby McNair on drums. And while we're thanking people, I would also like to say thank you to Denise, who is our greeter and setup person extraordinaire, also happens to be a board member. I would like to say thank you to another fellow board member, who is Stephanie Rabber, sitting right there. Also resident tambourine player, so you got it at the ready, excellent. And then I would like to say thank you to Glenn and Jamie over on the back table for doing tech tonight. And thank you to everyone, because I know everyone's going to pitch in to put the tables and the chairs away when we finish in just a few moments. And as the Abundance Bowl finishes going around, I'm going to invite people to stand on up.
We are going to sing our closing tune, which is by Ginger Coyle. We're going to get the first lyric slide up here. And I'm not inviting you to sing the lyrics because there's a whole lot of them. They're just up there for you to see if you want to know what they are. But when those yellow lyrics come on, higher, 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 and I am love, I am light, I am inner peace, you guys know what to do, okay? Is it off? Okay, thank you. All right, so first lyric slide. All right, thank you everyone. This was such a wonderful Elevate, and my apologies for going late. I totally forgot about that one extra tune that's in there now. Still getting used to this new flow, which is great, but getting used to the new flow. See what happens with no warm-up. Everybody's waiting on a revolution they've developed from evolution. I think first it's gonna take a revelation, shift their minds and consciously awaken to the positivity human beings should be, full of love and light and inner peace. For love in places, got myself into some situations. Now I've grown, I know my past does not define me, and all the love I could ever need is here inside me. Took so long for me to see it was waiting here for me. The love, the light, the inner peace. Of every explanation, but be aware of your own creation. Take responsibility for your conditions, and don't forget the power of your own volition. There is joy, there is pain, they are one and the same. It's a choice. am love. Here we go. I am love. I am light. I am inner peace. You are love. You are light. You are inner peace. We are love. We are light. We are inner peace. Be the love. Be the light. Be the inner peace. Higher, 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 be the love, be the light, be the inner peace. Woo! And that's another Elevate. Thank you so much for being here, whether in person or online. We love you, we appreciate you, and we're so glad you're here. And we will see you again next week. Gentlemen.